Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Modern Warfare 3. I'm not letting that skill-based matchmaking nonsense that was posted yesterday go. I'm still going off on this because it's something that just bothers me so much because in my mind, skill-based matchmaking was a turning point for the COD franchise. They claim that every single game dating back to COD 4 had skill-based matchmaking, but it was so different back then. Mostly it was just about team balancing and your level actually within the game itself. I do remember, way back when we'd play Call of Duty 4, if somebody got a new game or something, every now and then you would get a free 2 weeks on Xbox Live, they'd make a new account. And if that person had that, we would make them the party leader and our lobbies got a little bit easier back in COD 4. Like, it was a very simple, basic system. Was it anything like what we have now? Of course not. But they try to paint it as if skill-based matchmaking has always existed, even in your favorite games like Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 3 or Call of Duty 4 or anything like that. They try to paint it as skill-based matchmaking has always existed, and it's always been a good thing, and it's even good for high-skill players, which they said as much yesterday, and I just have to cover this here. So here we see value to elite players. Apparently there's value to skill-based matchmaking for elite players. The marginal performance increase for high-skill players with loosened skill consideration represents a short-term gain. The high-skill players are likely to get more matches where they could blow out the competition in the short term, but when that occurs, the competition tends to play less, and the result is the player pool shrinks overall. With low and mid-skill players exiting the core multiplayer pool, high-skill players are more likely to encounter other high-skill players in the matchmaking by default. That's what we already have, pretty much. Like, if you're a good player, you pretty much only play against good players, with the exception of when you run these little tests here without telling anybody. The gameplay here was picked for a very specific reason. This was recorded in May, and I made several videos talking about this, but when they released the game mode Minefield, which was basically just team deathmatch, but whenever somebody died, they dropped a mine, and that mine would be lethal to other members of their team. That game mode had no skill-based matchmaking. Like, I think overall, over the course of like 50 matches in the game mode, I had like a 3.5 KD and like a 10 win loss or something stupid, something absurd like that, something that you just don't really see in Call of Duty anymore. And the only thing I could derive from that is there was no skill-based matchmaking within that particular playlist. They were doing one of their tests that they never want to tell us about. But the thing about that is, if we just go play a normal game mode, by default, if you're a high-skill player, there's going to be other high-skill players in the game, and it's going to just be a sweat fest 24/7. Like, they're saying that they have to keep skill-based matchmaking, otherwise you'll only face people of an equal skill level. Well, that's what's happening right now anyway. It's just such complete bullshit. But let's continue on here. Players can see this impact in legacy Call of Duty games today. Other titles which have similar matchmaking systems, and no they do not, are active with predominantly high-skill players, which forces multiplayer lobbies to be created from that group of dedicated community members. Players can only match with and against who is online, regardless of any system designed to form lobbies. We will always strive to improve our approach to matchmaking to ensure that players of all skill levels are having the best possible experience. A healthy player population is good for everyone in the community. Let's backtrack here, right? Older Call of Duty titles, which apparently have skill-based matchmaking according to them, are active with predominantly high-skill players, which forces multiplayer lobbies to be sweatier because only the most dedicated people are there. They're trying to insinuate that older Call of Duty games are essentially dead because whenever a lower skill player tries to play an older COD, they get shit on by people that have been playing the game for years and years, and therefore they quit the game and they never come back. That's why skill-based matchmaking now currently is a good thing, because we have a prime example. Look at the older games. Nobody plays them because only good players are there and bad players don't even want to try, and the matchmaking pool is not big enough to protect those low skill players. They're essentially blaming older Call of Duty games, for all intents and purposes, being dead because they don't have enough skill-based matchmaking in there. Are you kidding me? The reason why older Call of Duty games are dead is because Activision wants them to be dead. They actively go out of their way to make sure that those games are dead, and I can prove that. Let's take Black Ops 2, for example, widely considered by the community to be one of, if not the greatest Call of Duty game of all time. It is hacked all to hell, and it's been hacked all to hell for a very long time. I can't even go play the game anymore because in that game, all hackers have to know is your gamer tag. They don't have to have access to your account or anything like that. They just need to know your name, and just simply by knowing your gamer tag, they can alter your stats, they can reset your prestiges, they can reset anything. I had one hacker completely reset me to level 1, and I had nothing available to me on my account whatsoever after being Prestige Master and everything, and that felt pretty terrible. I made a video talking about that, and then either the same hacker or another hacker, I'm not sure, they took me and put me up to Prestige Master, unlocked everything in the game for me, and put a heart in my clan clan tag. That is how hacked the game is. They can do whatever they want to anybody's account at any point, not to mention all the other nonsense that you're seeing on your screen right now. On top of that, have you ever looked at the price of older Call of Duty games? Let's use Black Ops 2 as an example. Does that look like a price of a game that came out in 2012? They're trying to act like Black Ops 2 is a premium title that just came out this year. And not to mention, Black Ops 2 was one of those games that had a season pass. It had map packs and things of that nature. And you would think over time, the prices of that nonsense would go down in an effort to get people to continue to play the game. But oh no, the prices of DLC in Black Ops 2 12 years later are the same as they were back in 2012. Make that make sense for me. Activision literally are going out of their way to make sure that we don't play the older Call of Duty titles because they can't make as much money from them. They make much more money these days with battle passes, shop bundles, and things of that nature. They don't want you to play Black Ops 2. In fact, they want you to forget Black Ops 2 exists, which is why they left it to be hacked all the shit, which is why they leave the DLC prices on the game the exact same, and that is true of every other older Call of Duty title. If you go back to Call of Duty 4, go back to World at War, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, Ghost, it does not matter. Any old COD title, all the DLCs, those map packs which fragment the player base, they're all the same price now as they were over 10 years ago. They will not change them. Those games are hacked. They're not going to go back and fix them. They just want you to forget that the older games exist until eventually the player base just dwindles down to nothing. And then they come out yesterday saying, our value to our elite players. Have you seen the older Call of Duty games? There's no skill-based matchmaking really in them, and that's why nobody plays them. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Like, the stuff that they come out with is just the mental gymnastics they have to go through to even post half of this shit. But let's continue on here. We have a couple of frequently asked questions here, and this one just gets me. Does competing against high skill players make low skill players better at the game? To which they respond, playing a better opponent may push players to become more proficient over time, but being severely outperformed in their matches, our testing has shown, instead leads players to quit matches in progress or to not play multiplayer. Essentially, and this is even really something that they've hidden, they've kind of just come straight out and said it a couple of times, but basically, if you're new to the game, we have to hold your hand. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to make you feel good. We're going to make a game like Modern Warfare 2019 with safe spaces and a fast time to kill so that new players can get kills they don't deserve. They do all of that intentionally because bad players want to be good right away or be made to feel like they're good so that they can spend more money in the shop. That's essentially what it comes down to. Ultimately, it always comes down to money, but, you know, I sound like such a boomer right now, and I get that, but I feel like it's okay because I feel like 95% of the people watching this video agree. When you started playing COD, whatever year it might have been, whatever game it might have been, you were probably pretty bad. You might not have been terrible right away. Maybe you played other games before, then eventually you got to COD. Maybe you weren't the best right away, but over time you saw that progress and you got better at the game, and that's what helped you fall in love with the franchise. For me, it was Call of Duty 4. I've said a million times, you know. I eventually got an Xbox for Christmas way back when. Me and my brother had to share it on our living room television, and we were playing Call of Duty 4 with those old flimsy headsets that come with the Xbox, you know, trying to talk to my cousin and my friend Tyler online, and I was bad at the game. I was so bad at the game. Overall, I think my KD was like a 0.7. I think 0.77 actually. And over time, I loved always checking my stats because over time, that 0.77 KD eventually got up to a 1. It took me tens of thousands of kills, but eventually that negative KD got positive, and I loved watching that progression. That's what made me fall in love with the franchise. I saw myself getting better and getting better at this game, which was random, right? It was a completely randomized experience. When I would get into a lobby, it was based on ping. Ping is always king, right? Or at least that's what they say. We would get in there, I would see tons of people in my lobby using my area code as their clan tag. I would sometimes run into people that like would know people that I knew. Never would I actually run into somebody I knew in real life, but I would run into some kind of acquaintances almost because that's how tight the ping was back then. It was so fantastic. And going into those lobbies, knowing it was all just based on your connection, and then seeing yourself consistently being number 1 in the lobby, number 2, number 3, or whatever the case may be, that felt good. You saw yourself get better, and ultimately that is what made me fall in love with the COD franchise. That's why I'm here all these years later. You know, that was 2007. This is 2024. Over half my life has been spent playing COD at this point, which is actually pretty sad, but at the same time, that's the dedication I have to this franchise. New players aren't going to get the same experience because they have now essentially what is just a participation ribbon like we used to get in Little League Baseball way back in the day, right? Where you jump in and you might be dog shit at the game, and instead of you adapting to the game adapts to you to its own detriment because it wants your money. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to, and that is so damn frustrating. Ladies and gentlemen, there you guys have habit. I could go on here, but we're beating a dead horse at this point, man. I mean, we've been beating a dead horse for like 5 years now when it comes to skill-based matchmaking, but it's so frustrating that, you know, on one hand, they're releasing this stuff, they're being transparent, or at least attempting to be. I think it's more just bullshit than anything, but they're releasing this stuff, which I enjoy it because I get to see like their perspective and get to make videos on it and stuff, but at the same time, what they're revealing to us is just such nonsense, and it fundamentally goes against everything I know about the COD franchise and everything I love about the COD franchise and video games in general. It's ridiculously frustrating because I fundamentally disagree with every aspect of it, and there's nothing I can do. And I hate that so much. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down there in the comments what Call of Duty game was your first game. I'm actually very interested to hear about that. And tell me a bit, doesn't have to be paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, but just, you know, a couple quick sentences. What was your first game and how was your experience like getting into the COD franchise? Like, let me know about that. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.